How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Old School Weekly Recap. Let's go over the highlights from the past 7 days. This week's game update included a few improvements for PvP from the recent PvP developer blog. The looting bag now provides additional functionality and is substantially cheaper to buy. The added option to open your looting bag will cause all items you pick up to go straight into it. Purchasing the looting bag from the Bounty Hunter store now costs 15 times less, only 10,000 points. On Bounty Hunter and PvP worlds, PID will now randomize more frequently. Previously, PID would be randomized every 60 to 90 seconds per player. This has now been reduced to every 24 to 36 seconds. The emblem trader found in Edgeville will now let you toggle whether or not you receive targets who are located beyond 10 wilderness. That does it for this week's PvP updates, and the remaining changes from July's PvP blog will be on the way in the coming weeks. In this week's update news post, the team also included a progress report on the in-game collection log. This feature is currently being developed by Mod Lenny, who in the news post described the development progress so far, as well as the process used to help design it. You can find all of the details in this week's news post. On Friday last week, the Old School team published a developer blog about making friends with my arm, a quest which is being proposed by the team. This quest would be the next installment in the Troll series and would be designed by Mod Ash himself. My arm's mission in this quest is to establish relations with the troll town of Weiss. While some minor details of the quest were discussed, the main focus of this blog was to detail the proposed rewards. The reward for completing this quest would be access to a salt mine and the ability to burn salt at fixed fire pits around the game. Fire pits must have logs added and lit before salt can be used. The type of log affects how long the fire would burn. There are 3 different types of salt: red, green, and blue. Each provides a different type of bonus when added to a fire pit. Red salt prevents your run energy from being drained when you're nearby, and it also doubles the rate at which your energy regenerates. Fires created using blue salt act as a place to sacrifice bones for double the usual prayer experience. And green salt provides a boost to gathering resources. When you're within the range of the fire pit, you would have a 1 in 3 chance of receiving twice the usual amount of resource. And on top of these fixed fire pits and salt bonuses, locations where braziers can be built and permanently lit would also be added. These braziers would have an effect which improves the area where they are located. One example given in the blog is a brazier near the entrance to God Wars, removing the chilling effect as you approach the entrance. The blog included a full map of where all of these fire pits would be located, as well as all of the requirements for the quest. You can find a link to this full blog in the description. And one last note on the topic of trolls for this week. This week's developer Q&A featured a few examples of troll animations which have been in the works. On Monday, a developer blog was released discussing an Android soft launch for Old School in Canada, alongside a number of changes to mobile. All Android users located in Canada, including both free-to-play and members, can now play Old School Mobile. This soft launch is a part of the preparations for a global launch later this year, and it's going to help the team optimize the player experience. A few of the improvements for mobile mentioned in the blog include the ability to purchase membership and bonds via the app, buttons which help you add a K, M, or B representing 1000, mil, or bill, and spaced out usernames in your friends list and clan chat. For the full list of changes, check out the news post linked in the description. And before we move on from mobile, on this week's developer Q&A, Mod Ash showed off a new spellbook which is under development for Old School Mobile.
So what we've done is firstly give you some way of getting the info about the spells. So I can see that this one is level 19 cursed, and I see what it takes, and I can poke them, and when I finished being in info mode I can come out of info mode. And we've also added some filters. So here are the filters. I can choose to take off the combat spells, maybe take off the utility spells and be just left with my teleports. And now there are so few of them that we get a whopping great big icon. In addition to those filters, let's say we do want those, but I've also got filters in here for showing spells you lack the magic level to cast and showing spells you lack the runes to cast.
Our final topic before we get into the community spotlight is a couple of changes in the Old School team. Earlier this week, Mod Sween announced that he would be leaving his position as Old School Community Manager. But before you get all emotional, do not worry. Sween is leaving his current position to move into a different role on the Old School team, Social Media and Video Marketing Manager. And with Sween moving into his new role, that leaves a little room in Old School Community Management. As such, Mod Gambit, previously a member of the player support team, has now joined Old School as a Community Manager. Be sure to congratulate Sween for his move into his new role, and make Mod Gambit feel welcome. You can find a link to his Twitter in the description. Now it's time for the community spotlight, and this week is the epitome of bittersweet. As Jagex announced earlier this year, The RuneScape Classic servers were turned off on August 6th. There were many reasons for this, including Jagex's tools becoming incompatible with Classic as they advanced to support RuneScape 3 and Old School. Following the announcement of Classic coming to a close, a player and streamer by the name of Titus Furious decided that he wanted to complete every quest on stream. He wanted his completion of the final quest in Classic, the Legends quest, to take place as the game was shut down. With 3 minutes left on the countdown timer for the servers to be shut down, Titus was still a few more minutes away from completing the quest. Thankfully, Mod Atlas saved the day, delaying the closure of RuneScape Classic just long enough for Titus to complete the Legends quest and claim his Legends cape. And that is all for this week's recap. Congratulations to Titus and farewell to Classic. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.